Right. So you get together all of the documents that belong to Caesar. You can line them up on the table, pull out everything you got. You probably got the state ID, some kind of form, state ID, driver's license, regular state ID card, whatever. You get through DMV. Passport. Right. You got passport. Anything that was issued to you belongs to the issuer by law. That's just what it means when something is issued. So whoever is issued to, they're not the owner of it. So the issuer is the owner of what's issued. So you always realize that if you have something that was issued to you, whether it's a insurance card or social security card or anything, with an insurance card, I would say you could just return that in the mail. But the other things, I would go in person, like the social security office, go back in person, tell them what you did for, cite the scripture. And Christ said, render to Caesar the things that Caesar. I'm keeping this commandment because that's my Lord, that's my sovereign, that's who I serve. I keep his commandments and laws. You turn in that. Then you do that the same thing wherever everything else. So you go to the DMV, do the same thing wherever else for whatever document that you got. And along with that is you have to stop claiming that you live in, or you first of all, you can't believe in any of these things these people talk about. Like, oh, you in the United States and you in their country. Because once you say you in their country, you say you in their territory. That means you acknowledging that this is their territory, which means you're a sellout. And you're a traitor to Christ. Because this is Christ's territory. He's a Lord, and he's a Lord of the whole earth. Right? So, now, you can't be acknowledging or talking about you in the state of New York or in the city of New York. You can't be accepting any mail with any all capital letters and last name on it. If you're going to be telling people how they're going to address you or write to you, you're going to put by before the address or anything that you write. Right? So, that's the whole key thing. You're not going to be acknowledging the authority or acknowledging that you're accountable to them and that you have anything that belongs to them or you identify with them in any kind of way. So that's the whole key step to how you're supposed to move with these people when you're trying to go through the born again process, which is you going back to how you were, how you were born, and the God-given name you was given through the inspiration of your parents, as you read in the story of Yahshua Christ. So it's always important to go back to the status of you having only a name given to you by your parents. You don't have no other name. The key thing is to understanding by definition what a surname is, what a given name is, and what the difference is between the both of them. Once the clear distinction between what the both of them is to you, and especially what is a legal name as opposed to a given name or a God-given name, then that's going to be clear to you that you're not supposed to be dealing with one or the other. Read Job 32 verse 31. Read Colossians 3 verse 17. Right? And understand St. John 5 and 43. scriptures together with Isaiah 44 and 5 and Isaiah 45 and 4, which will make clear to you, you understand the whole concept and the significance of the concept, but that the empowering aspect of this whole thing when you apply it is about you not selling out and you bearing your cross at the same time, which is the inconvenience that you're going to have to deal with on this path. Is a sacrifice you're going to have to take. Simple. The yoke is easy and the burden is light. You know what I'm saying? It's just that you have to deal with the spiritual battle of proclaiming the words of Christ, like his keeping his commandments, and which is the main thing is to teach the gospel, which is proclaiming the kingdom, and also to teach his commandments, which is what he said, his teachings on how we're supposed to deal with each other, and also the fact that he said we're supposed to teach the commandments and the laws and keep the commandments and the laws. So that's the whole thing. That's the whole rebirthing process that you coming into Christ's name. You come in in the name of the Lord. So Christ came in the name of the Father, and now you being baptized now through this understanding into the name of the Father, and you baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So it's like the whole process of you being cleansed through, going through, especially with this, you understanding what he's saying when he's saying, render to Caesar the things that Caesar. That's the mark of the beast he's talking about. That's something that the beast gave to everybody. Because to tell you when he was born in Luke 2 and 1, that they went out a decree for the whole world to be taxed. The whole world. All the nations under Caesar control or domination. So he issued a tax decree. So everybody had to go up to register. When you go up to register, you know what a registration process is, what that entails. So once you do that, you are given something by Caesar that shows that you're now accountable for a tax. So you can't engage in no buying or selling without that. That's taxable. Buying and selling is taxable. So obviously, if a man telling you the mark of the beast is something spiritual, he don't have no understanding of the scriptures. And if he telling you it's a microchip or some other nonsense, he don't have no understanding of the scriptures and what was going on. The mark of the beast, where Christ said, render to Caesar the things that Caesar, is because that's the mark of the beast. What the scriptures is talking about, that implies you are breaking the first of the 10 commandments, is you not acknowledging God. You want to be a slave and serve other gods. You want to bow down to them and serve them. That's what you want to do. So that's the whole key significance of him telling people, you render to Caesar the things that Caesar, and the God, which God. You figure out who you want to serve. Who you serving. You serve who you think you should serve. Right? You want to serve the Most High. Then render to Caesar the things that Caesar's. Right? So that's important to go through the process of keeping that commandment. You can't be talking about you did do that and you still holding on to a state ID card or EBT cards or something like that. Now, you could have these things, but if you have the consciousness of this stuff, like, well, I'm accountable and I'm responsible for this stuff. This stuff is mine. I have to pay for this stuff. You have the mark of the beast in your forehead. Because I used to hold on to the same documents for some time, and I made a whole bunch of videos explaining to the people that these documents, even though you holding these documents still, is a way that you're supposed to use it where you're not using it wrong, and you're not actually going against the scriptures. If you know the truth of what's going on, this is why it's saying the people they receive the mark in their forehead, their right hand, and in their forehead. I had to mention the forehead because the right hand means they physically have the mark, meaning there is a physical thing that they're in possession of. The forehead means in their mind, they believe that they need this stuff, they need it, and this is their stuff, and they're supposed to have it, and you can't live without it. So the whole thing is getting rid of that whole concept out of your mind is like a rebirthing process, because that comes to people from they born, they believing in this stuff. So you can't enter into the kingdom unless you're born again. This is what he's talking about. He ain't talking about something mystical. He break it down. Render to Caesar the things of Caesar, and give yourself to God. What belongs to God, you belong to God. You're everything. You serve God. So, and that's it. Once you do that, you well on your way to now growing in the kingdom. You go from there. You acquire a proper documentation of your status, which is you're now a member of the clergy, which is a different class of society. A clergy is a separate class of society. They have a lot of exemptions and benefits, and you can take advantage of that now because you're not required to have certain things, do certain things, because you're not in possession of any certain documents, and you're not putting yourself in a certain type of position because you don't have those documents that will put you in that position. So you could get everything that you need through charities and through the healthcare system. That's the way the Most High said Israel would prosper and their enemies would serve them in the prophecy. When you look in Isaiah 49 and 23, or I think it's 26, no, it's 23. So the nations, we talk about the king's gonna be the nursing fathers and the queens the nursing mothers, right? Nursing that's the industry which is what called the healthcare industry, or which is the Department of Health, that whole sphere of what supposed to be the services that the so-called that their government provide, these healthcare services or whatever. This whole department is where you get access to things that you need through other outlets that they will refer you to, where you could get healthcare and all that stuff without having any insurance, without having any last name, right? Without having any social security number. And as long as you address yourself and tell people how to address you if they want to write you properly, you always have a documented reference to the jurisdiction that you're dealing with. So that's why I say always put by before the address when you want people to address you, right? So you will put your appellation on top, and then under that you will put by, and then you will write the location, right? It's not your address, because you gotta understand what the word address means. I'm talking about these are all commercial terms and stuff, and designation for commercial legal entities, and entities in the legal, in the world of the legal, right? So we're not in the world of the legal, so we don't have an address, right? We in the kingdom, we don't have address. We had a location, we had a specific location, and we're not there as permanent residents. We there as sojourners, meaning we temporarily in a place where we are. We just passing through. So we're not gonna be permanent anything when it comes to, but they want people to say, well, you a resident here, so you can't get this and that unless you have a proof of an address and stuff like that. But all you want to show them is that you can prove that there's a mailing location, okay, and where and if they want to address you with something, they could send it to that location right there. So, but it's just understanding the whole terminology and not get caught up in the letters and trapped and opening up. Get trapped up in opening up something. You have to know how to return something that don't belong to you. You write on a letter, return to sender, no such person at this location. No such person lives here. You see, you're not lying. You ain't lying. A person is not a living being. A person is not a living thing, first and foremost. And secondly, you are not a person, right? You don't have a person. So, and this is a legal person I'm talking about. So you're not none of that. So you're not lying when you put that on there. So that's the way you deal with returning the things that the Caesars or people who belong to Caesar are sending you things in the mail, right? It is a law, it's a federal law that says it's a crime for you to open mail that's not sent to you in your proper name. It's a felony. And a proper name, by definition, does not include a surname. So they're telling people, if you open a mail and the mail is it come in all capital letters, you're a criminal. But they're not going to be going out there prosecuting people because they letting people know. I mean, they just letting people just take accountability. If they want to be accountable, take accountability, fine. They don't have a problem with that. But they just having the laws there for whatever reason. But that's what it says. that's part of the mail fraud laws section in federal United States Code. I forget where it's exactly at, else I would have cited already. But the general thing is saying, you open up mail in a name that don't come in your proper name. It says proper name. You open mail that doesn't come in your proper name, you committed a crime. You open a mail that don't belong to you. Or if you have people sending you mail in a name, you telling people to send you mail in a name that's not your proper name too. That's the same thing they talk about. That's a crime, man. So I ain't telling you something that I ain't just making the stuff up. Right? So, like I said, going back to Job 32:21 and all them other scriptures, you gotta get the name right, get your name back, and going through that is like a whole rebirth process. And that's how you enter into the kingdom. That's how you talk about St. John 3. That's how you come in back into under God's authority, and you coming back out under Satan's authority. Colossians 12:13 say that we being translated, which is a transference into the kingdom from out of the kingdom of darkness. So the kingdom of darkness that's Caesar's kingdom. So his authority and stuff like that. Once he do that, he don't have no more authority over you. That's how you strip them of their authority. That's the only way you could conquer and have victory over them. It's either they got victory over you because you're gonna be always paying taxes to them in some way or other, or you're looking at yourself as a taxpayer, or that you belong to them in some kind of way in your mind, or not. When you look at the other way around, they belong to you. They're your servants. They're gonna serve you. You rule over them. You're not in slavery to them, and you're wealthy. You may not be rich, but you're wealthy. Money is not about having money. It's about having wealth, which is you have your possessions, you have your birthright, you got the commandments, you got the truth, you got the spirit, you got everything because you went with the Most High, and you know that that's immortality. That's eternal life. You can't die. So the hell with all that other stuff, man. You're just gonna maneuver through the whole situation, and the whole thing is like not being by yourself. You can't really function like that. You have to have people that you can commune with and connect with and refer to, because that's the whole purpose of coming together, because it's like there's more power there, and the Lord's presence is there with the gathering in a powerful way, where you can overcome any challenge that you have to deal with when it comes to being tried, be your faith being tried by these forces out here, because that's going to happen. That's just part of the whole evolution process of spiritual development. You have to have your faith tested, and your whole knowledge and understanding of things is going to be tried through as time goes on, and through the developing, the things that's developing, how these nations is going to be dealing with people. So you got to deal with them sooner or later, and when you deal with them, you can't be compromising and selling out, because it's not worth it to be a slave, man. What profit a man for him to gain the world and lose his soul and end up being a damn slave, a prostitute? Like, come on, man. People just gonna chew you up, spit you out. They're gonna turn you into an android. They're gonna stick stuff in you. They're gonna just make you. They're gonna make you like a dumb piece of meat out there that's just running off of some program, artificial program out here. No spirit, no soul. So, hey, the only way to get off of that path is by cutting that name off. I'm telling you, man, everybody holding on to that name or that legal status, they're gonna get coerced. They're gonna they know how to corral and cattle the population into following certain things that they're gonna be implementing, man. Especially, like I said, with this with the AI thing, and then they're coming more with the cryptocurrencies thing stuff, and all this stuff coming more computerized. They got the metaverse, they got the virtual reality, people buying real estate in some other world out there, people buying houses in some other world out there, they're buying plots of land. Yo, people living in some other world out there on a computer is gonna be crazy. So it's, the only way to be safe from this stuff is disconnect, and because they're gonna tell you, if they're gonna tell you, if you have any kind of claim, like you got a social, right, or you got a last name, date of birth. That's another thing, date of birth thing, man. Oh man, that's the trap right there. All this stuff is like they use this information to pull up records on you and showing now, well, you one of their people, so you have to follow their rules and do what they say. If they say you got to do certain thing, go here or go there, or you gotta do it. You say you gotta come and do something, you gotta do it. You gotta report, you gotta listen, you accountable. Like I say, if you holding anything that belong to them, you accountable to them. You basically sign up with the company, you gotta follow the company rules. You sign up. You sign. So, sign is sin. You take out the G because it's silent. That's sin. Sign is sin. It's the same damn thing. You don't need to be signing for nothing. That's a contraction. That's just a contract. That means you minimalize and contract. You're not expanding. Most High is about expansion, growth. If contraction is against the whole principle of the whole universe, man. You're not out here to contract. That's sin. That's missing the whole mark. That's missing the whole point, missing the whole truth. That's what sin means. You're missing the target, what you're supposed to be aiming and focus at, and what your goal is. You're missing that. You're going off track. You're not going along the right path. So that's the whole understanding, man. I just hope, whoever hear that message right there, they understand it. It's just people ain't teaching that. I don't understand why. Most of them people ain't teaching that. I know there's a few good people out there that know that, and they ain't really, well, no, I know a few people that's bringing it out, but it's not enough. It's not on a higher level where it's supposed to be or it should have been.